G'day, this is the Happy Families podcast. Every Tuesday on the pod, we answer your tricky questions. And today, oh my goodness, we've got a doozy. What do you do when you've got a child who's just got such a negative, miserable attitude? When they don't want to play along with all the good stuff you're trying to do, when they can't find the good in their life, how are you supposed to navigate it? Kids are supposed to light up. They're supposed to be excited. And yet, in spite of everything you do, it's not working. What do we do about a positivity program? Is it even the right idea? What works? That's what we're answering next. Stay with us. Hello, welcome to the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every day, Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We're Justin and Kylie Coulson, parents of 6 children who, not going to lie, exhaust us, drain us, and sometimes have us wondering how we're going to help them to do well in life when they won't talk to us about anything. And it seems, Kylie, that we're not the only ones. Today's question comes to us from Julia, who asks the following.
Hi Justin, my name is Julia and I have 11-year-old twin daughters. One of our girls is glass half empty and she really struggles to look on the bright side. If we announce we are going on a holiday, the first response will be, I really hate going on a plane. We have tried different strategies over the years. We role model a growth mindset, express gratitude, and at dinner time we ask her to tell us first about what went well. But we can't seem to shift the negativity. We want to make sure we acknowledge all of her feelings, including when she's frustrated, annoyed, and worried. But how can we help train her brain to still find the positive in life?
So do you remember that children's TV show? I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Squiggle. Was it Mr. Squiggle?
Mr. Squiggle, yeah.
Was it?
With Miss Jane.
The blackboard that used to come in with the,
Yeah, because blackboard got written all over all the time and got rubbed out. Yeah, that was blackboard.
I feel a little bit like the blackboard today. It's been a tough day with Miss 12.
This is about Julia, not us. I can't believe you're using our podcast for your therapy.
No, but I'm nervous that it might flow over into the way I respond.
You're saying you get it.
I totally get it.
And
I totally get it. And it is exhausting. And sometimes I wonder whether, as parents, part of the exhaustion comes from our desires, good-natured as they are, to try and change our children.
So interesting that you've gone there, because the first thing I wanted to highlight was what research shows about children, and that is that we can help them with values, we can help them with decisions that they might make in life, but we cannot change their temperament and we do not change their personality.
And the challenge for this twin is she's a twin.
Right.
And clearly her sister, who is exactly the same age as her, was literally conceived and growing at the same time.
Yeah.
Clearly is different.
So this is another element that I hadn't thought of till you said it, but twins they carve their own niche, they make their own space. So if one child has the sunny disposition, the other one's like, I can't be sunny like her because otherwise we'll be the same. I've got to be different. And the easiest way to be different is to be the opposite. There's a couple of things that I want to touch on here as we just crack straight into the answer for you, Julia. I don't know necessarily that her negativity is the problem, but the campaign against it definitely is. The campaign against the negativity is a bigger problem than the negativity itself, is what I mean by that. What do I mean? Let's say you're doing all the textbook stuff, growth mindset, gratitude, what went well, that kind of thing. Maybe the problem's the textbook for this particular child because of her personality, her temperament, the way that she seems to be responding. A little bit provocative. It kind of runs counter to a lot of the messaging that we usually share on the podcast. But this kind of comes down to, let's talk about the sentence, I hate planes. This is the kind of sentence where, let me get personal. We have, my brother's living in New Zealand. So Emily's cousins are in New Zealand, in Queenstown. That's where they're living, Queenstown. And we've said, what about we save up and we might shoot across there for 4 or 5 days and you can see your cousins and we can hang out in Queenstown, which
we can see the snow.
Might be the coolest place on the planet. Like, it's just so great. And she didn't give us the I hate planes. She said, I don't want to go anywhere. I like being at home. Same sort of situation, same context, essentially. So bear in mind, this is not necessarily pessimism. This is not necessarily bad attitude. This is just information. So what's the information? Well, maybe there's some anxiety about changing the environment. Maybe there's a sense of loss of control. Maybe there's a threat assessment out loud. I don't like planes because they can be scary, or because I might have to sit next to someone smelly, or because what if something goes wrong on the plane?
I know with our youngest, she hated getting in other people's cars. I was so confused by that because they were like her best friends or her auntie or her cousin. And I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Mm.
And what it came down to was she didn't like the smell of other people's cars.
Because our car smelt so good with all the...
No, but it was familiar to her.
Right. Yeah.
And we look at our children and often, because they are growing so quickly and in lots of ways can handle things with such maturity, we attribute more maturity to them than they actually are ready for.
Mm. Mm.
She's 11 and she's almost a teenager. And so sometimes because we can have these beautifully intelligent conversations, we expect that she's going to be more emotionally intelligent, more mature, more capable of dealing with the world around her. And she actually isn't. She's 11.
Yeah. And temperament and growth and development are all factoring in. There's something in psychology research called defensive pessimism. A defensive pessimism is basically you rehearse what could go wrong out loud as a functional strategy. It kind of helps you to say, all right, well, this is what could go wrong and now I'm ready for it. It helps you to get into that headspace. Forcing optimism on somebody who is defensively pessimistic could actually backfire. It could make things way worse because then they get defensive about it. They dig in, they batten down the hatches and say, oh yeah, well, here's what else could happen.
As I was listening to Julia share, that the one tool that kind of came up for me was give your daughter in fantasy what she can't have. The idea that she hates planes. So she's not saying she hates going on holiday. She hates the plane. And so the conversation actually could turn into a little bit of a fun game. If it worked for her, you just wish that we could stay home all day, or you just wish that we could catch the train and take the long road, or whatever it is that you think kind of is what she would like, and just build on that and kind of create this fantasy world of what it could be like to lighten her mood. And the reality is, we can't have everything we want, but it shows her that you have the ability to take her perspective.
For me, the biggest issue that's coming up here from Julia is the question is kind of, how do we fix her? How do we fix her? And that's not the question to be asking. I think a more productive question is, what is my daughter's negativity doing for her versus what is my positivity project doing to her? So after the break, I want to unpack that a little bit more and talk about how we can support her autonomy and help her to feel okay about things, even though it seems like she doesn't feel like things are okay. Stay with us. That's next. We're back. This is the Happy Families podcast. I want to run something by you, Kylie. Kids are only going to internalize a value, whether it's optimism or gratitude or positivity, whatever value it is that you're trying to instill in a child, when they have a sense of choice in it, when they buy the rationale, when they go, oh yeah, okay, I can see that makes sense and I'm on board. So that means that requiring them to be on board with positivity or with whatever value it is in some ways, this sounds strongly worded, but it's a violation of their autonomy. And so what you end up getting is they'll perform what you're asking, but they won't transform because of what you're asking.
So I'm really stuck on the twin thing here because I think that it's playing a huge part in the way mum and dad are able to deal with it, because it's so, like, there's such a stark contrast.
Yeah, you think, why can't you be more like your sister? Don't say that. Don't say that.
You have actually lived this. You have two sets of
twin sisters.
Yeah. And when I look at them, I see a similar pattern. What was it like growing up with twin sisters, and what was the dynamic?
This is going to sound remarkably lacking in insight, but I was their older brother. I was 4 years older than the first set of twins and 14 or 15 years older than the second set of twins. And I don't know, because I didn't care. I didn't want to know about them. I just lived my own life. So that sounds really glib and dismissive.
No, but I'm listening to Julia, right? And she's kind of basically described your two sets of twin sisters. There was this one positive, bubbly one who was outgoing and did everything. And then you had another sister that was kind of just a little bit more reserved.
Oh, a lot quieter and introverted. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would suggest...
That's the same. Number one and number two in each, they followed that pattern.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I wonder if that twin dynamic actually plays something more significant.
Yeah, it could, but there's nothing that you can really do about that other than encouraging your child to be who she is. I got a couple of ideas that will help to build a sense of autonomy in spite of the twin dynamic, or maybe even be facilitated a little bit because of the twin dynamic. The first is, when it comes to, we do this around the table, right? Like, we have what went well today or grateful things. We have a conversation point each night. Sometimes it's, where did you see somebody being kind or helping? We just pick values that matter to us and we discuss them. But every now and again, we've got a child who says, I don't want to do it. I don't want to say anything. And so what we do is we say, okay, well, you don't have to. Which is really hard for us because we desperately want them to be finding these good things in their lives, these gold flecks, these moments of beauty and goodness. But what matters most to us is that we model it, not that we demand it. Again, we're not looking for our children to perform. We're looking for the experience to transform. And when you demand it, when you require it, there's no transformation. So I think that's the first thing. You don't have to if you don't want to. This is what we're talking about tonight. You're welcome to just listen if that's what you prefer. There's no pressure. Or you might like to tell us something else about your day. We're fine with that too. Second thing, I want to be careful about the whole gentle parenting thing. And I'm not sure that that's coming out in Julia's statements, but there was a recognition in what Julia said that they're really big on acknowledging how their kids are feeling and working with them on their feelings. I think it's good to acknowledge, but I don't think it's good to do therapy. Don't hover on the feelings for too long. So,
well, the more you focus on something, the bigger it gets.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I know plans are your least favorite part.
That's why I think that kind of whole given fantasy what they can't have,
useful strategy.
It acknowledges how she's feeling, but then it kind of just is able to lighten things and move her through it.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And this is it's a delicate balance because when you argue with feelings, they dig in. So you do want to receive and acknowledge the feeling, but if you do it too much, you also make it bigger.
You create it
both ways. Yeah.
I wonder if part of this. It's so hard when we get a 2-minute voice message. So I apologize if this is going in a different direction and it's not helpful, Julia, but maybe somebody needs to hear it today. When our kids are struggling, I think often it has a lot to do with their identity and trying to work out who they are. And I think in a twin dynamic, it's even harder. But I know growing up in a household of 3 girls, my sisters always felt like they were in my shadow. I'm the eldest. And in their minds, I was so accomplished. Everything was done so easily. Everybody loved me. And so they constantly felt like they had to do something spectacular to be seen. And maybe this is just a little girl who's feeling a little bit unseen because her other sister is so capable and she's so positive and everybody loves her because it's easy to be around her. And one of the things I loved that your mum and dad did with the dynamic with your sisters was they actually spent time with them one-on-one. So your dad would take one twin and your mum would take another twin and they would have date night. And each of your parents got one of the twins better than the other. And so they really developed a relationship with that particular twin and built rituals around their time together.
Yeah. We need to wrap it up there. Julia, I hope that there's some useful answers there. There's one more thing that popped into my head as you were talking about that, Kylie. It's tangential. It's not directly related, but kind of brings this whole thing together. I feel like more than anything, we want to be encouraging some choice, some volition, some autonomy in this situation. I feel like the more you push for positivity, the worse it's going to be. That might be the paradox behind all of this. The fastest way to have a more positive child is making peace with the negative one. Like, optimism will eventually arrive, but she is only 11. But when it does, you need it to be hers. It can't have been a manufactured performance. It needs to be something intrinsic to her because that's the only kind that's going to last. Really appreciate the question, Julia. Thanks so much for sending in that voice note. Voice notes can be sent to podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au if you have a tricky question. Alternatively, go to happyfamilies.com.au, scroll down to the podcasts part, press the record button, and let us know what's on your mind. You can ask us pretty much anything you want, and we'll do our best to be helpful. The Happy Families podcast, sound engineering and audio by Justin Rulon. From Bridge Media, Mim Hammonds looks after our admin and other support. For more info to make your family happier, happyfamilies.com.au.